the strength to be seen. Once there was a young boy named Max who lived in a small quiet town. Max was always known for his infectious laughter, his kind heart, and his incredible ability to make people smile even on their worst days. But behind the bright eyes and warm smile, Max was struggling. Max had always been a dreamer. He loved to write, to draw, and to imagine worlds where anything was possible. But as he got older, the pressure to fit in with everyone around him grew heavier. His friends seemed to have it all figured out: perfect grades, sporty skills, and friends who always seemed to understand them. Max, however, didn't feel like he was good enough. His dreams felt too big, too different, and he often found himself lying awake at night, wondering if he'd ever measure up. Max's life at home wasn't any easier. His parents, though loving, were busy trying to make ends meet. They didn't have time to notice the subtle changes in him. The days when he would come home early and lock himself in his room, or the times he would retreat into silence, unable to share what was in his heart. Max thought no one would understand. But one day everything changed. Max had just turned 16 when his school decided to hold a talent show. At first, Max was hesitant. The thought of standing in front of everyone, revealing his innermost thoughts, terrified him. But there was something inside him that whispered, maybe this is the chance to be seen, to finally speak what's been held in. With a mix of excitement, Max decided to share a poem he had written. It was raw, filled with all the fears, doubts, and hopes he carried every day. The poem spoke of the pain of not feeling enough, of searching for a way to understand, and for a dreaming in a world that seemed too fast, too loud. The night of the talent show, Max stood backstage. When his name was called, he walked up to the microphone, his knees shaking, his palms sweaty. For a moment he considered walking off, but then he remembered something, a line in his poem that read, I am more than the quiet that I hide behind. Max took a deep breath and began to read, his voice shaky at first, but as he spoke the words, something incredible happened. The room fell silent, not because they were bored, but because they were listening. For that first time, Max felt like he was truly seen. As he finished, there was a pause. Then slowly, applause began to fill the room. First from a few people, then from everyone. Max stood there, blinking in disbelief. In that moment, something deep inside of him shifted. He realized that by sharing his story, he had not only found his voice, but had also inspired others to find theirs. After the show, Max was surrounded by classmates who came up to him telling him how much his words had meant to them. They shared their own stories of feeling out of place, of struggling with their inner battles, and how Max's poem had given them courage to be themselves. From that day onwards, Max wasn't afraid to share his dreams, his struggles, or his voice. He understood that everyone was carrying their own silent fight, whether it was the pressure, the fear of not being good enough, or the loneliness that often comes with feeling different. Max learned that the most powerful thing we can do as youth is to be brave enough to speak our truth and to show up not as perfect versions of ourselves, but as real, raw, and beautifully imperfect human beings. Because in sharing our stories, we find that we are not alone. We find that we all have the power to make a difference, not just in our own lives, but in the lives of those around us. And that is something worth fighting for. This story highlights how courage and self expression can lead to personal transformation and connection. It shows that, especially for youth, embracing your unique journey and sharing your struggles can inspire others and foster a sense of belonging.